let's own that. Dirt, 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 I miss that. Dirt, 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 gotta get back to it. I've been the Kenny Wallace of the rap game. Ever since I hit him with that dirt track thing. Now nationwide, everybody knows my name. They're like, mama, that's Kenny Montgomery. He sings that song we like. Yeah, boy, that's me. Roll out the trailer, I'm flossing. Them Hoosier tires glossing. Them cold kind we're tossing. They know I came to wreck it, yet I rarely bring out a caution. I hit the high side, boy, I park it for Brian Clausen.
Welcome to Throttled Up the Podcast. Often imitated, never duplicated. Your weekly home for the best in motorsports coverage.
Even your grandpa talking about, man, that boy too cold. We don't sit on 24s, we don't.
And welcome back to Throttled Up the Podcast. And Matt, we've been doing this, I think we just said 4 weeks. We've been back live in studio every week. Got a new one tonight, though.
Yeah.
We are, well, not just the guest. We are live for the first time on ThirstyGoatRadio.com.
That's awesome.
So not only live on Facebook, live on Twitter, live on Twitch, live on YouTube, but also live audio on ThirstyGoatRadio.com.
Hey, I sent my resume in to be a guest DJ on Thirsty Goat Radio.
Did you?
Yeah. I'm sure you threw it in the trash, but
Oh, absolutely not. No, I got you, brother. We'll get you hooked up. We're ready.
I'm ready to do that too, man. I'm kind of excited.
Yeah, so we're I logged on earlier and was playing a little Framing the Red and a little Anything But Human, so had to get my fix in earlier, but
I dig the Framing the Red. That's pretty good.
Oh yeah, great band. Go ahead, introduce our new guest that we've got in studio with us.
With us tonight, a P3 Graphix Indiana Pro late model driver in the 2080. It's going to be Alan Edsall. Alan, glad to have you here.
Thanks for having me, guys.
And Alan, I don't know how much you've got a chance to watch this show, but we this is the question I ask every driver to come on here, and I'm sure there's some people out there that get tired of this being the first question, but I love it because I get more stories out of this question than anything, because this whole racing deal's an addiction, and it drives us all crazy, and it's a love-hate, but how in the heck did you end up this becoming your addiction as being at the racetrack?
You know, I mean, I could see why that's a solid question, you know, because there's a lot to talk about right there. But so I grew up playing football my whole life, and you know, playing football, a lot of head-on-head contact, and you start getting injuries and stuff. And the older I got, that started to kind of mess with me, and started to get, you know, concussions. And Dad was like, hey, you know, let's try to get away from the, you know, the football, the hard contact stuff. And let's try to get into some racing, because Dad, that's all he did growing up was racing. And I was like, yeah, let's try it. So he went down and he bought a Bandolero, and we started off there, started practicing, and started slowly racing. And so that's pretty much it. Football injuries kind of turned into a racing career.
Now, the people listening might not know what a Bandolero is. You want to kind of explain to them what kind of race car that is?
So, a Bandolero.
Oh, I thought he was playing in one of them bands that play at the Mexican restaurants.
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Bandoleros. So it's like a, it's a beginner class. You got, they got, I think, 3 different classes in the Bandolero. There's like beginner bandit, which is like people that have never raced, and then you got your bandit class, which is a little bit more advanced than your basic, you know, beginner, and then you got your outlaw class, which is your older kids that, you know, got some wins underneath their belt and they're a little older and stuff. But it's like a go-kart with suspension on the back half. It was a little Briggs & Stratton motor. Had like a Lamborghini type body on it.
Really?
You know, they're pretty cool. You get in from the roof, but they're low center of gravity, and you know, just the suspension in the rear, and then you got it. It's basically just like a go-kart, you know, just with the full cage on top. You know, a little safer, but that's what I started out in. Full. It had a full fiberglass body on it. I got a picture. I'll show you guys.
Okay.
But yeah, that's what I started out in.
Did you race circle track with that or road course or?
Yeah, that's all that's all I first ever did was asphalt circle tracks and just small little, 5/8 quarter miles. But that's where I came from.
So after the Bandolero, where do you go from there?
So that's the cool thing about what like U.S. Legend Cars has set up is you kind of start off in the Bandolero and then you move up to a Legends car, which I'm sure you guys know what a Legend car is.
I was gonna say that's the route the Bush brothers took. I know Kurt and Kyle both drove up through that.
Yeah,
the Bandoleros
so like,
and the Legends.
A lot of Cup guys, they like Bubba Wallace.
Yeah.
There's a thing called the Summer Shootout. He raced down there a couple times in Charlotte, but it's weird with the Legend car because you can kind of start, but you could also just stay in a Legend car and race it forever because they're just so small, fun, something you could take to the track by yourself and run yourself and have a good time because they're so small. They're not very pricey. You could race them anywhere: dirt, asphalt, road course, anything you want. There's different tires.
Now, when you move up to the Legend, that was like a motorcycle engine, right?
So back whenever I started, they ran on just little Federal tires, directional, and then they had a 1200 cc Yamaha motor. So it was just in like your basic motorcycles and stuff. But now they just came out with it's called an FZ09, and it's water cooled and fuel injected.
Oh wow!
Yeah, pretty cool.
Hand clutch, you had to like shift on.
No, it's actually a foot clutch.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's
Which is
pretty
pretty
awesome.
cool.
I just watched those. There was a Salem Speedway hosted the Legends down there on their small track in the infield, and I bet they had 12 or 15 of them Saturday, and it was.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was a great race. It was
I've
cool
been there
to watch.
at Salem, yeah.
I love those. I think it's a great class, whether dirt or asphalt, that you do get a good mix of beginners and some experienced guys, and usually it's good racing in those.
Yeah, so like you said with the different varieties, so I think they got young line, semi-pro, pro, and master. So your master is like people that are I think 50 and older, just like the older crew,
That'd be you.
Yeah, I'd be a master.
Yeah, well, you'd be in the master class.
Yeah.
And then you got your pros, which are like the kids that are top of the nation, that are pretty stout. Then you got your semi-pro, which is I think it's like 16 and older. So you got to be semi-pro, and I think you got to work your way up to pro. I don't know, with wins or something. There's some type of something there. And then you got your young lions, which is your beginners and where your kids start. So they're not sending everybody out on the track. It's like levels, so there's not a bunch of wrecks and better racing.
Very cool. So out of the Legend car, then, did we go to dirt from the Legend car?
So there's like a little gap in there, what we were talking about with the open wheel stuff.
Yeah.
So Don and Mel Kenyon, I don't know if you've ever heard of them. Super great guys, man. They got a program that it's really hard to beat. Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, they've all ran, a Kenyon car. That's what they call them. So Don and Mel gave me a nice opportunity to let me drive one of their Kenyon cars. So I raced. I think I only had about 12 or 13 races in a Kenyon car, but that's where we kind of dabbled into the dirt. I had 2 dirt races in a Kenyon midget. That's where it kind of started.
So how was the jump from asphalt to dirt? Like with the 2 races, you had 11 on asphalt, and all of a sudden, hey guy, you're gonna jump in here.
Dude,
and these 2.
that is, it's like, it's like flipping your world upside down.
Really?
It's complete opposites. You drive totally different. The cars, the only thing that's the same is the chassis. You change your suspension, your tires, everything, and it was just another experience for me. It's like wow, this is pretty cool. It's hard, That's what I thought. It was really difficult, coming from asphalt to dirt.
But it was did it interest you enough? Is that why you was like, let's switch to dirt? Or?
Man, it hooked me.
Did it really?
Yeah,
That's cool.
I mean, it hooked me serious after that. That's all I could think about was getting back on dirt and something, just racing dirt. I
Right.
don't know.
Now, I know obviously we talked earlier about the Speedrome in Indy and what all the Speedrome is, and amazing facility. Did you ever get in on the figure eight racing up there?
No, man, I was always too young, but Dad actually, we ended up buying a figure eight car, and we raced it for about, I think, a year, and just being there, kind of in it,
Yeah.
it's really crazy.
Oh, it's insane.
Just the big races and, just watching Dad out there, just standing there by the fence, your heart it's probably one of the coolest things to watch ever.
That's what, if people have never seen it, like the really good ones, like the 3-hour enduro, the World Championship. If you've never watched real good figure eight racing, you don't know what you're missing, because it's insane.
It's hard
the
to beat
talent.
that. It's
Brownstown had a figure eight when I was a kid. They would race special races on it.
On the dirt?
Yeah.
Really?
way.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cut right in the infield.
I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's
Yeah,
obviously it was flat, but
Yeah, when I was a kid, Brownstown wasn't banked at all. I mean, it was a flat racetrack.
That's what Gator was saying.
Yeah, it was flat, but they actually cut the X was cut in the infield. They like 3 or 4 times a year would run figure eight races there.
that's wild. That's wild.
I can only imagine watching a figure eight at Brownstown.
Yeah, I didn't know that at all.
Yeah.
That's I learned something tonight. But
I actually probably have some old programs that have where you can see the figure eight cut in it.
oh,
you
that's
know.
cool.
Yeah.
Did they not have the wall around it or anything?
Well, the wall, you had the front stretch wall always, but the back stretch used to be like a piece of K-rail, like
Oh, really?
guardrail you had on the interstate. That was all the back stretch. Used to be with big, tall telephone poles.
I could only imagine just staying straight,
But it was very, very lot flatter than it is now. I mean, you could go all the way to the front stretch wall and not drop off like you do now. That's how flat.
So when they start the banking, do you know?
Maybe 10, 15 years ago, maybe.
Probably.
And
yeah.
just added to it,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Well, it's been steeper than it is now.
I was gonna say it slowly grew kind of year after year,
Yeah.
but the last couple they've cut.
They've cut
They've
probably
cut
a
it
foot and a
down.
half, 2 foot off the top of it.
just for better racing,
We were getting too fast.
Yeah.
Were you?
Yeah. The fair board actually went to Jim and told him to cut the top of
Cut
the
it
track
down.
down. We were getting too fast.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and when they were going over it, it was
You know that risk and reward on the top of Brownstown. So
Yep.
when it was really banked, there was a whole lot more risk there. So
I can only thinking more. I mean, just it being banked more. I can only imagine
Yeah.
what it like, because it's pretty. If you go over, you feel it.
yeah.
You know it.
So you get this dirt bug, like you said, you couldn't think of anything else but getting back on dirt. So how do you go from that transition of the Kenyon midget to full-time dirt?
Man, so this is where it gets kind of funny. So after the Kenyon, I kind of we messed around with the Legend car again. We raced it for a few years, but man, we were like, we just need to do something. This was after the figure eight, and after the Kenyon, we just kind of, I don't know, we didn't take racing as serious, but we still were just using it as fun. And Dad was like, man, I just want to do something different. Let's do something different. What would you like to get? I was like, I've always liked the modifieds, watching them. So we wound up getting a mod. Yeah.
wow.
We some guy from our hometown, he had one just sitting there, and we ended up buying it, and we tested it a few times, but this is where it gets kind of funny. So I tested it out at Brownstown probably 2 or 3 times, and the big stacker was there, looked like a big time guy, and Gator came aboard, and that's when he started helping us out was with the modified, because we come from asphalt, man. We don't
Right.
know nothing. So Dad searched around, and we got a hold of Gator, so Gator started helping us. And
You got you a good one there. He's
I
been
know.
everywhere,
Yeah,
man.
Gator's tough when it comes to dirt racing. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
I haven't seen somebody so passionate about it.
Yeah.
He just, that's all he wants. He wants to race, and he just wants everybody to do good.
Yeah.
He drops man. you come over and see like Gator, man, I'm pushing so bad, or you know, I have no drive. He will drop what he's doing and go over there and look at your car and try to help you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how Gator is.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
And has worked with some of the absolute
Everybody.
best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the highest level.
Yep. I mean, everybody I've seen him help, he's made better or faster.
Yeah.
Or
I have no argument with that.
made him win. But so we're out testing. I mean, I'm horrible in this mod. I'm spinning out. I don't know how to drive it. I'm learning. And I spin out and kill the car. This is like the third or fourth time I've spun out. And I'm just sitting there waiting for a push. And we didn't have a 4-wheeler or anything. So this big time stacker guy, you know, with the big toter and stuff, he comes out. And this is where Chad Stapleton, this is where I meet him at. Yeah. This is where it all just starts going crazy.
Total chaos.
Yeah, well, we know Chad.
Yeah, Chad. So he's, you know how he talks to you. You know, he's Junior. You know, this is how you need to squeeze that brake. You need to do this. You need to do that. That's how you need to drive it. And I'm like, all right. And he goes, Junior. That's what he calls me, Junior. And he goes, if you do good, you know, this next couple practices, I'll let you drive my super late model. I was like, you're playing around with me, dude. Get out of my face.
No, he's not.
No, he wasn't playing.
No.
So I'm like, all right. Well, I wound up doing good in the next practice and kind of get a good feel for the car. And he's like, all right, you going to get in it? And I was like, you know, you're actually being serious? And he was like, yeah. And he was like, but now see, you're going to get in this thing. You're not going to want that modified no more. I was like, man, shut up. Let me drive this car. So I go out there and I'm burning it up in his freaking super. And
He was right.
oh man, it killed me, man. I was like, we got to get a late model now.
He felt wide tires behind him, and
Oh,
he
yeah.
thought, yeah.
And that big old motor, man, it was over. It was over. I still remember the day after driving that super. It was like, man, you know, it's like I don't know. It's hard to explain the feeling, you know, of just the want and the man. I just want to do that again. That feeling.
Now, you guys bought a car off Chad, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's how the ball started getting. So he was selling his crate car and stuff, and
Oh, he 31 auto sales right there. Worked it right in. Let me get you in this super.
He's a car salesman.
You're
isn't
going to
he?
want a late model. And, hey, I can help you out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So he kind of put the bug in my ear, and we ended up getting that crate car, and that's actually my personal car. Now, Dad actually started out driving it. Dad started driving the Chad Stapleton crate car, and we wound up finding the blue gray, dirt cheap. It had a super motor in it, and that's what we ended up buying. We took the motor out, put a crate car motor in. That's what we went racing in, me and Dad.
Well, let's take our first break here real quick to get our sponsors out there, and we'll be right back with Indiana Pro late model driver Alan Edsall. Race Clean Products is the cleanest brand in motorsports. No matter if you're using the original or the all-new Fast Hands formula, you are guaranteed to keep your hands clean under the most intense racing situations. The original or blue formula is perfect to keep at the sink in your race shop and will ensure that you won't come home covered in grease and grime. But for those unavoidable messes at the track, and you don't have time for a sink and water, be sure to have a bottle of Fast Hands in your trailer. It could be your most important tool. Race Clean products can be found at www.goraceclean.com. Dirt to Media continues to expand its coverage of local racing for race fans. They've expanded to over 70 live events for the 2021 racing season. The live event schedule includes live weekly racing from Brownstown Speedway, Salem Speedway, and Thunder Valley. VIP members can still get all their on-demand racing coverage the next day for one monthly fee. And their monthly fee also includes live racing action each week from Thunder Valley Raceway. In addition to all of this local action, be on the lookout for special events from regional tracks around the Midwest. If you aren't getting your racing action from dirt2media.tv, you're missing out on the best coverage in the Midwest.
Gilpin Electric and Generator Services is a customer-first company that takes care of all your electric and generator needs. They are your go-to dealer, installer, and generator service company. Don't be stuck without power during severe weather this year. Contact Gilpin Electric and Generator Services on Facebook or call them at 953-1261.
We've all heard horror stories about insurance companies and insurance agents. Let me tell you about my family's agent, Tommy Taylor. Tommy is an agent at Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance and is a multi-line agent that can keep all your insurance in one place. Why is a dedicated agent so important? When you have the unexpected occur, you'd much rather know the person on the other end of the phone. Contact info for Tommy, 812-372-4483 at extension 2447, or look him up on Facebook at Tommy Taylor, Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance. Don't be another horror story. Stop knocking on wood and relying on a 1-800 number. Trust Tommy Taylor today. All right, and we're back here live with Alan Edsall of the Indiana Pro Late Models. And Alan, when we took off there, we were talking the story, kind of how you ended up in this. And the one thing you didn't say when we were live on air, but you did off air, was not only did you have the modified, you were planning on racing it that weekend. It was fully lettered, ready to go, and it was Chad Stapleton that just turned your world upside down.
Yes, it was. He, you know how he is. He
Oh,
just
yeah.
gives you deals you can't resist, and that's what ended up happening. I mean, I'm telling you, we just got the mod lettered up. I'm pretty sure we had tires ready, buffed, wrapped, everything. I mean, it was ready to go, and that's just how it happened.
So where'd the modified go? I got. Yeah.
So, man, we went to dirt from, our hometown back at Speedrome, and everybody just kind of like, they wanted to go dirt too. So it wasn't nothing to get rid of a dirt car down there, because all these guys saw how much fun we were having down here at the dirt track, and how, it wasn't so drama, and it was just more racing and a lot more fun. And we ended up selling it to our buddy Jack Dawsey. He ended up buying the modified.
Wow.
And he races it up at Circle City all the time.
Really?
And yeah, he's really, he's doing really good in the modified.
deal.
And it was an LG2. I think somebody said they're built by Jimmy Owens or something.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And it was a really nice car, really nice mod. It is brand new. The guy we bought it from, I think he said he was a bookkeeper for some type of law firm or something. He never had time to race.
Really?
So he sold everything he had to do with racing. Sold it to us, dirt cheap. We got like a tire rack, tire buffer. We got everything we need to go dirt racing. So it was easy to just get rid of the modified and come.
Still have all the stuff
and
that
still
you
have-
needed.
Yeah.
Very cool.
But that's how it all happened. It's not. That's the God's honest truth too. That's what
So
happened.
Chad's a way better car salesman than we ever gave him credit for.
I agree. I think I'm going to have to, next time I see him, I'm going to have to back up a little bit, because he
Yeah.
worked that deal really good. I'm
Yeah.
surprised he didn't sell you a water truck, too. He's been known to drive the water truck around Brownstown.
many times.
Sometimes forgetting where he parked it.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother issue. But so so you end up going and buying this crate, and you jump in the late models. And what was that transition like? Obviously you'd been in the super, but now you're gonna do this, for the regular.
So the only big motor experience I've ever had was just testing the modified and whatever that test session was in Chad's
Right.
car. So I literally had no laps with a big motor. And some people don't consider a crate motor a big motor, but
But when you're coming bandoleros and midgets, and
coming
legend
from
cars,
little motorcycle motors to something big and an actual full-size car, it was just, it was you can't describe it. It was just it's like restarting, and I've really liked it so far,
Do you have plans to move up to a super? Are you going to run in the crates for a while, or?
I'm gonna run in the crates a good while. I want to run both, honestly.
That'd be cool.
Mainly supers, because that's just how I am. I like to, but I also, that little bug in your ear, you just want to go race a super, big motor.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
You want to go race with the big time guys, and my dream is to be some type of racing name, or race full time for somebody and do something with my racing career. But if nothing ever happens or comes about that, I would love to even just race a crate car, just race something every week, something to have fun.
I can't believe we didn't ask this yet, but how old are you?
I just turned 18 in March.
You got plenty of time, brother.
Yeah, he's and you know, to throw something out there, you know, and with all this, but we've talked a little bit about Circle City, and I failed. I told you before we went on air, meant to have it here, but when we were up there with the Indiana Pro late models at Circle City, shout out to Royal Purple Performance Products and everything they do for us at Brownstown, at Thirsty Goat Entertainment, and supporting everything. But we give out the Quick Time Award, and we did qualify at Circle City, and our fast time award winner was Alan Edsall. Now Ryan and I were completely unprepared and had no plaques, no signs, no oil.
Well, most of the time,
when we travel, don't
there's
ever
no qualifying.
So we had nothing. So I meant to bring it here tonight to present to him, and forgot it in the trailer. But I do want to say congratulations, man. And I want to say this too. That was cool. You know, we've had a lot of different guys win the Quick Time Award. But to see now kind of two of you asphalt speedrome guys that have come over to dirt, with Jesse Tunney winning it one weekend at Brownstown, and you picking up the Quick Time there at Circle City, that's a pretty cool deal, because that's what excites me about Circle City, is it seems to continue to drag some of these asphalt guys over to some dirt stuff with us.
You don't even know the beginning to how many people want to, you know, jump in a late model or a modified or something. You really don't know. I mean, it's just going to grow and grow and grow from the asphalt side to the dirt. And, you know, getting fast time in front of my hometown down there, it was pretty cool. You know, I probably, you know, it'd be nice to get it at Brownstown because the competition is pretty stiff. I mean, it's stiff down there, but, you know, to get it at Circle City and a new track, that was my first time. That was my, I don't remember if we hot lapped before or if that was just straight qualifying.
I don't remember either.
Did you guys hot lap qualify like we do at Brownstown?
Yeah,
I think
at Circle City we did.
So, yeah.
But I don't remember the first time. I don't know if
The first time nobody got on the track.
Yeah, the first
soup.
time
Yeah,
we
you just packed.
it was rained out. Yeah.
Yeah, it was soup. So that was.
Yeah.
So how'd you get introduced if I wasn't there? For the Quick Time Award.
We didn't get to go down and do it.
Oh.
I just knew who it was because.
So no one introduced you or nothing?
No, I didn't announce and introduce myself. So I just know. I noticed that we were qualifying, obviously, and being up there in the booth, I could see the times, and I knew Alan was it. So Ryan took care of it and went down there and said, yeah, we totally failed. We didn't bring anything up here. So we weren't prepared at all, other than just to come up there and have a good time.
Well,
So-
you got put behind the 8 ball. You had to do my job anyway, so that set you off on everything else.
Yeah. Well, when you're under talented in those
Well, I wouldn't
positions,
say that, man.
it definitely does. But Alan, so we talk about that, and I don't want it to sound like, obviously we're dirt guys at heart, but obviously I love asphalt racing too.
Me too.
We get the opportunity to broadcast at Salem Speedway, and like I said, if you've never seen the World Figure Eights at Speedrome, you need to go YouTube it after the show and check it out. But there is something special about the dirt, and I think it is that fact that there's so many small town dirt tracks all across the country that blow up on Friday and Saturday nights, and it's just there's something different about it.
Well, really, it all came from there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Asphalt came from dirt, so it was it's
that is where it all started.
so you're kind of going back to the grassroots of racing when you go to the dirt track.
So the decision to run weekly at Brownstown, is that because of kind of the connection with Chad, or what drew you to Brownstown Speedway?
So what drew us, to Brownstown is the competition for one, and two, Gator says, and I mean, to be good, you got to run where the good people run.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's how I was taught. And that's what Gator says, and nobody wants to race on a horrible track every week. We want to go race on a good track with good competition. And I mean, if you want to go race somewhere nice weekly and have great competition, Brownstown is your track. I mean, I really haven't seen a nicer track.
Well, we
than
appreciate
Brownstown. I really haven't. And the facility, the way it's ran, everything's so organized, which 9 times out of 10 you don't get at another racetrack.
Well, you don't see the hidden chaos that we have up in the tower in
I can
between the
only
races,
imagine.
so it's He's been up there. He can testify.
Oh, yes.
It looks calm out there, but it's not in the tower. So
No, it's not in the broadcast either because, but we appreciate that. Like I said, and you know, we say it on here a lot, and I know that Jim Price, promoter at Brownstown, catches a lot of flack for things, and you know, and I'd say it to Jim, deservedly so on some, but a lot of them undeserved. And you're exactly right. I think sometimes people who only race at Brownstown get jaded and forget how great of a facility, competition, track it is to get a chance to race at.
Man, it's hard to, you know, be at the ranks of Brownstown. I mean, it really is. Now, see, I'm just your local small-time racer. I haven't been to all the big-time racetracks, so I wouldn't know. But Brownstown's always going to hold a special.
that's awesome. See, it does me too. And I've never raced there, but I started going there at 5. And it's like
Exactly.
that's my track.
That was the first ever dirt track I've ever been to. That's the first ever dirt track I've ever turned laps on.
right.
You know, so
Did you find it odd that it didn't have a wall all the way around it?
that's another thing that draws you to Brownstown is new guys. They don't want to go somewhere with a wall all the way around it. So
We tear up a lot of stuff that way.
yeah. So that was another thing that Gator said. He goes, you know, we got to go test somewhere without a wall.
It's forgiving, you know.
Yeah, very forgiving, but it, you know, bites you in the butt too, you know, if you don't.
Oh yeah.
Now, the Uke tires at the bottom, if you ask Steve Pete and Zach Burton, they aren't very forgiving.
Man, trust me, I know. I've hit them back-to-back nights. I really have. I've knocked noses off. I've ran them over. I'm serious.
Tucker Chastain has a love-hate relationship with him too. 'Cause he
Yeah.
runs so close to him in super stock. So
They will reach out and kiss you.
They will too. When you hit them good.
oh yeah.
There's no doubt about that. So, looking at that competition, you talk about the competition there at Brownstown. Who are some of those guys that you love competing with in this Indiana Pro Late Model class?
Man, the Burton brothers, you know, Austin, Bryce, they're awesome kids. I really like them. The younger crowd, they've always drawn me, you know, and we've talked and, you know, we've hung out. But, you know, they're nice to race with. Zach, you know, he's a very good racer. You know, Steve Peden. I really haven't been driven dirty by any guys out there. You know,
in this class, you really
comment.
won't.
Yeah, we made that comment a couple weeks ago that they race hard and you know they'll race you door to door and race you clean.
I've never had a bad experience with a racer out there. I really haven't. I mean, there's been, you know, contact on the track, but most of it's racing, and
that's the whole thing. And I think that group not only, yes, they will race you hard, and there's racing incidents that happen, but I think not only are they not dirty, they also, on the flip side, they understand. Sometimes you're going to get underneath a guy and you're going to get loose, and there's not that I'm immediately at your trailer ready to whip you. I get it. It's a racing deal. We'll get back. So, yeah, it's a great class. And when you start talking about some of those, I know like you said, you know, the Steve Pedens, the Tyler Neals, obviously right now, unless your name's Steve Peden, Tyler Neal, Raymond Humphrey, or Shelby Miles, you haven't seen victory lane in the Indiana Pro Late Models.
Nope.
So, and really, no disrespect whatsoever to Shelby or Raymond, but Peden and Miles right now or Peden and Neal right now are kind of in a class by themselves.
Man, when you beat them guys, you're doing something because they're tough.
Oh yeah.
They definitely got something figured out that we don't. But, you know, that's where teams like us, you know, we knuckle down, we come back every week to beat those guys, you know. It's not one guy killing everybody. It's, you know, they switch back and forth. And I mean, there's like Tyler Collins.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, he gets up there and he runs just with them guys. I mean, you know, you don't know who's going to win weekly.
Shout out to him also for winning
Yes.
his grandpa's race at Twin Cities last Saturday night, the Ted Collins Memorial. So glad Tyler won that.
Very, very cool. And if you've not seen the video of him getting out of the car, just the emotion that he had right there. And and as he said, Tripp's first trip to Victory Lane there. So very, very cool. Yes, thank you for shouting that out.
Yeah.
But, you know, what do you think the biggest thing you have learned in your time here in the late model? Where do you see your most growth or learning that you've had?
The finesse, the hitting your marks, you know, every single time on that racetrack, the reading the track. You know, the big thing coming from asphalt is you usually got one lane, and you hit that mark every single time. Now see, dirt, it might work around the bottom first 10-15 laps, but it might move up to the middle, it might be around the top, and then your marks change, so you literally got to watch the track and the field. And another thing that I've learned is watching your crew, your sticks, watching your guys, where are they telling you to go, what are they telling you to do. It's not as easy as what people think to just look at somebody while they're on the track, because you're usually focused on something,
Right.
but it's definitely not credited enough, with the racing.
There's probably a lot of people that sit in the stands thinking, okay, it's a bumpy old dirt track, and you're talking about finesse.
Yeah.
But I mean, you really got to have that, don't you?
Man, especially on them rough race tracks. Those rough race tracks is what you got to keep your driving, right there. It's just so finesse. You got to hit your marks every single time, or like you're just gonna get passed.
Was that something that surprised you coming from those smaller engine cars? Would you have thought that I got enough motor now that I can motor out of some of these mistakes?
Yeah, kinda, but with the crates, it's hard to throttle out of something.
It's almost like running a go-kart or a
it's
bandolero,
momentum.
because you got to keep that momentum up.
That's one of the big things. Like Joe Gotze taught me, he's always helped me out a bunch with my driving, but he's real big on finesse and watching your throttle, controlling your braking.
You get up in those supers, I mean, you got enough motor that you can drive out of some stuff, but in a crate, you almost have to keep that constant motion going forward.
Yeah, especially with that motor, you got to keep your momentum up. That's a huge thing in the crate cars.
What are some of the goals that you've kind of set for yourself here as we close out the season?
Definitely want to start more towards the front, run good heat races, qualify better, but definitely top 3s and top 5s weekly. That's my goal. Definitely making the show. For a beginner like me, sometimes you're fast, sometimes you're not, but always making the show weekly. That's always my goal.
September, we got the big crate show coming up with the Bowman 50, so
that's a tough one. I'm excited for that, and I think I'm starting to get a little bit more experience, and I got some more laps underneath my belt to where I think we could run pretty good in that race, and hopefully we finish pretty good.
So you roll out in the heat races, and the track's heavy, still kind of wet, because 90% of the time we run you guys first.
Mm-hmm.
Then by the time the feature comes, the track's starting to black off and slicken, and it gets even more black by the time you guys are done. How do you, as a driver, adjust from, okay, I'm going to go out on a heavy track to get myself placed in the feature, but then I got to concentrate on a slick track?
That's another thing, just you got to be ready for it. You got to slow yourself down a lot. You got to roll out of the gas. You got to back your entry up whenever it starts to slick up. But my struggles coming from the asphalt is I did a lot better in the slick because I didn't drive it so far in, and it took me forever to really learn how to turn the car in the traction, because it's just so tractioned up in that thing.
Right.
But I mean, sometimes it's different, sometimes it's the same. I mean, you just gotta be ready for.
So you prefer the track feature time way better than you do during the heats, right?
Man, I love the track when it's slick. It's so racy.
That's what everybody says.
Some people, I like whenever, it's fun around the top, when it's tractioned up, and you just got to get up on the wheel and be an animal. But I personally think, what makes you a real good driver is when you drive good in the slick, because I think it's a lot harder to finesse the bottom. Try finessing the bottom one time, you might be able to beat that cushion down, but finesse that bottom or that middle and keep your momentum up. Sometimes that's what makes you a better driver too.
Well, I think you just nailed it right there with that, because I think what so many drivers sometimes miss, and everybody's got where they're most comfortable, is that ability. I can go hit the high side and run it, or I'm going to be right around those Uke tires. But what you've said 2 or 3 times is, hey, I got to read the track. The track changes. My entry points, my marks may change. The best drivers don't have a style. They run where the track tells them to go run. I mean, when you look at what Kyle Larson has done on dirt, whether it's in the late model, the midget, the sprint car, over the last year and a half, it's what he does. He goes where the line needs to be.
He can't even run the national anthem slow.
No.
Didn't he turn like 3 or 4
3
laps?
laps, yeah.
Dude couldn't even putt around for the national anthem. But yeah, I mean, I think when you look at the best, it's what they're able to do. Is they're able to figure out where the track is telling them to go run and then go find it.
That's what makes them guys so good. Like, I remember watching, I think it was the Chili Bowl when Kyle Larson was running, and I mean, he'd move to the top before everybody would, or he'd move to the bottom before everybody would, and that was the fastest groove. And he could see that before anybody else could, and I mean, that's pretty crazy to me.
Yeah, he's
Special. I mean, he's got it figured out, man.
The
That's,
GOAT.
Yeah, he is, honestly.
Yeah.
And we've said that on here before,
Yeah.
and I never in my life thought I would say it because, growing up and hearing the stories of A.J. Foyt and what Foyt did, growing up and being a Tony Stewart fan and arguing forever that Stewart was the GOAT to me because he could run it in anything, anywhere, anytime, and be successful. It's hard for me to sit here and not say Larson is hands down got it. I mean,
I agree.
He's got something.
He could get in anything. I think you put him on a horse in the Kentucky Derby, he wins it next year. I mean,
He's on that level,
I mean, I'm betting on him. I can tell you that.
Oh, heck yeah.
And he's the right size for a jockey.
That's what I was
too,
going to say.
so-
Yeah, he wouldn't even be too tall.
so he could definitely jump in. Hey, we're going to take our second break here for our sponsors. We'll be right back with Indiana Pro late model driver Alan Edsall, and we're going to let him shout out his sponsors and thank everybody that helps him get to the track. Do you have storm damage to a tree or trees in your yard? A stump from a tree you cut down years ago that's become an eyesore in your yard? A tree that continues to creep over your pool, house, or driveway? Give our friends at Kane's Tree Service a call today for a free estimate on tree trimming, tree removal, or stump removal. They're fully insured and have the experience for any job. Don't continue wishing you'd get those trees or stumps taken care of. Call Kane's Tree Service today at 812-344-5917.
Have you heard of Fresh Prince? If not, let me give you a player tip. Fresh Prince is our #1 source for anything branding. Shirts, sweatshirts, quarter zips, they can do them all and personalize them to tell your story. If you're looking to outfit a team, youth group, school organization, family reunion, or even a mildly successful podcast branding, let Dustin and his team at Fresh Prince help you look your best. Looking for something different? A personalized bag, blanket, animal apparel? Yep, they can help you do it. Do you have a case of writer's block? Is that perfect design eluding you? Try their online design tool. They are available to help. That's the service you can expect from Fresh Prince. Since 2011, Fresh Prince has been here to help you brand whatever team you're a part of. They're located in southern Indiana but are available online. It's easy to find them. Just Google Fresh Prince. That's Prince with a Z. Don't forget the Z. That's Fresh Prince, keeping you looking fresh since 2011.
This episode is presented by Thirsty Goat Entertainment. www.thirstygoatent.com and shopthirstygoat.com. And we are back here again live with Alan Edsall. And Alan, we ask everybody every week when we have them on here to definitely thank those that help them get to the track and support them. And so I want to give you a chance here to shout out all those people.
First and foremost, I got to thank my dad for everything he does for me. Just day in, day out, he's always there for me. He's my main supporter. He's always helped me with everything. He's pushed me. He's made me, who I am today. I've shadowed my dad, through the years, and he's definitely my hero. Bobby out All-American. If you need any type of mechanic work, all the way from oil changes to, you want to put a big block in your Volkswagen, he'll do it. I'm just saying.
You look good in the Volkswagen.
If it had a big block in it.
He can do it. He can. Bobby's tough. DJ at Saw Good for helping us out this year. Slicker, hooking us up with some graphics. And, that's it. My mom, my girlfriend, my aunt, my grandma, they're all watching back at home. They're excited. But That's pretty much it.
You saved it. Sometimes we got to remind some guys, don't forget Mom.
Yeah, I can't forget Mom. Oh yeah, Gator, man, he's old Gator. He knows what he's doing. I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for Gator. He's an awesome guy. I really look up to him. He's a special guy. Joe Gotze these guys have all taught me how to drive. They've all really took me underneath their wing and showed me how to drive. Chad Stapleton
We might be going a little too far now.
Yeah.
You can't give the anti-role model any credit, man.
Yeah.
he's helped me a bunch.
So he showed him, the last few times we've seen Chad, he's ended up on his lid. So he showed him the proper way to roll back over. So and Chad now owns the slowest rollover in the history of Brownstown
That's
Speedway.
a fact. That is true.
Thing took 7 minutes to get over on its lid.
Really?
No, it wasn't that long, but it was.
It was a long, it tetered. Is it going to roll over or not there on top of
It just
turn
got
4?
on the brink and kind of held there, and then finally it just rolled over. Like it was. If I was him, he had to be thinking, just get over so I can get back on the right side and get going again. But no, and I think that's the coolest thing we talk about all the time in the racing world, and is not only it's a family down in the pits, and guys will give you parts so you can go continue to race with them and compete against them, but they also want to see the next generation get better. And when you talk about guys like Gator and Joe Gotze and Chad Stapleton, they could easily hold on to all their knowledge and everything they've got and go to the grave with it, but it wouldn't help the sport. And in the long run, so many guys in racing are about the longevity of the sport, and it's just a cool thing to be a part of.
It truly is. It's awesome to be, somebody that you could teach. Being around Gator and him showing you the tricks and showing you, the ropes of everything, and Chad and Joe. People, you'd think, why are they why are they trying to help me?
Oh yeah.
Why? I don't know. It's just it's awesome. It's cool, but it's definitely something.
I'm just impressed that I don't know if Chad told me to do something, I'd trust it right off the bat.
I'd probably get a second opinion.
At least.
But we might know a different Chad too. So
No, nothing but love to Chad. So
even though he won't ever come on our show.
No, too busy.
You ask us how we get the people we interview. We've asked him 20 times.
He's been scheduled 3 or 4 times and not made it.
Then he cancels on us. So
that's how he rolls. I don't think he ever knows what he's doing.
I would agree with that as well. And I do want to give a shout out to, you brought up last weekend Tyler Collins picking up the win there in the Ted Collins Memorial. Also, shout out to Steve Peden on the win at Paragon for the Indiana Pro Late Models. Those that may not know that are listening to the show, Steve cut his chops at Paragon. Coming up in the street stocks, their super stocks, and really built his racing career there. And so I know it was an important one for him to get the chance to go back to Paragon and pick up the win there in the crates as well. And I need to look. Matt, do you know off the top of your head what's the points look like right now?
I do not know off the top of my head.
I don't either.
I don't know if some people realize that, he competed with Jamie Wilson with UMP points there in the super stocks. I think some people don't realize that, he was right up in the top.
Down to 38 points now between Tyler Neal. Tyler Neal at 26.99. Steve Peden at 26.61. So 38 points there between first and second. Boy, this is going to get me in trouble because I don't have a good way either way.
I'm going to abstain right now. I'm not going to pick.
If I was picking right now, I would go Tyler Neal on the 38-point cushion. I think
it's hard to beat him, man. Especially when he gets around that bottom.
And Steve, man, he's been hot and he's good, but it's definitely a 2-man race because right now in third, Zach Burton running well, Robert Rainey fourth, Justin Bowling fifth, Keaton Strevel in sixth, Shelby Miles seventh, Austin Burton eighth, Colton Sullivan ninth, and Alan Magner in 10th. And obviously Shelby not being able to run with this series the last few races, and again, we want to send our thoughts to Ray Humphrey and everything he's got going on. was a really cool picture I saw the other
Yes.
day of him up and walking, and so glad to see he is doing better.
I want to give a shout out to Bowling also. I was hard on him for his purchase there, but last time we was at Brownstown, he won a heat race and started on the front row of the feature event. So that's got to be a milestone for him too, because he's still learning the sport too. So.
And getting better every week.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
Alan, I'm going to ask you this before we go, because the crazy thing is, and it always happens when we do these shows, we're almost an hour in to our conversation already. It seems to fly by here, but when you look back, growing up, and obviously you've talked about your dad being your hero, but who were some of those other drivers that you looked up to in their style and how they drove and those kind of things?
That's a tough question because I've learned so much. I'm still learning about the dirt stuff, the drivers and the big races and the big paying races. But before I knew anything about dirt, I think I like Jeff. Everybody likes Jeff Gordon, I think. Dad, a lot of it came from my dad though, because he was a big Jeff Gordon fan.
he was my favorite too.
That's just coming from asphalt, because I never knew anything about dirt. I didn't even know who Scott Bloomquist or anybody was. I just learned that.
Did you know Gordon's dirt history?
A little bit about the midgets.
Okay.
Yeah, he dominated Florence and Bloomington and
Really?
in a sprint car. Yeah,
I really just looked up to Dad forever, but that's.
And I'm not saying you needed someone else. There is nothing wrong. My dad's my hero as well, so there's nothing wrong with that. I was just curious who some of those other guys were.
There's a couple of figure eight guys. I watched Austin Tunney a bunch whenever I was at Speedrome all the time. He was just super good in that figure eight car. Austin, Mark, all the Tunneys they're hard to beat in them figure eight cars. They really are. Eddie Van Meter, he's tough. Just all them guys. That's all you see. That's all you know is from Speedrome.
And is it crazy to you? And this isn't knocking any of those guys, but knowing the success some of those guys have seen at the Speedrome, to see how hard the transition is to dirt, because they've got talent. I'm not taking anything away from them, but those steps to figure out how to run on dirt.
The dirt is definitely the hardest thing I've ever done.
It's
in
a
my
learning
life.
experience.
The dirt late model or the modified. I really think a modified's harder to drive than a late model.
Oh, I would agree.
people have said that.
I'm serious, and
Yeah.
I've never taught. Well, I know one guy. He races a super stock. His name's Troy, but I don't really know very much about the stock side of things. But the only thing I really know is the modified and the late model, and I know there's a big difference in the driving styles from the late model to the modified. But it's hands down the hardest thing I've ever did, racing wise, but also mental, and in my whole life. Just learning it.
Well, you was talking about hitting your marks. That changes lap to lap. Like
Yeah.
you come back around, the track's different than when it was before.
And watching those big time guys, especially when you're out front, you kind of got to rely on your guys throwing the sticks, because if they're telling you to move up, you move up. It's just crazy. It's really crazy. It's the hardest thing I've ever done.
That's cool to hear. That's really cool to hear, and a really cool perspective. Well, Alan, I want to tell you this. We're really excited that you're part of the Indiana Pro Late Models and racing with us at Brownstown every week. Yeah. And I've said this to a lot of people that have come on here, but for 18 years old, man, you've got a future in this sport, not just because of your talent, but the way you carry yourself. The way you've handled yourself here and answering questions, the respect you have, not just for obviously your family, but the sport, the guys in it. Telling you what, man, very, very impressive young man, and you're going to do some pretty big things. I've got no doubt about that.
I really appreciate you saying that stuff, and I'm a huge family man. I roll with my family no matter what. But the opportunity you guys gave me today, the connection I think we've all had this time, with this interview and getting to know each other.
Mm-hmm.
I've really enjoyed myself. I've had a lot of fun, and
Good.
I want to thank you guys a bunch for having me on. And this is a huge. You guys don't know how much this means to me. You really don't.
Well, and it's funny. We laugh not because I appreciate that more than you know.
Oh yeah.
when we started this, and some people that obviously have listened for a while know this, it was literally a card table and 2 microphones that we started with. And
we thought it was just going to be us. We didn't think
there
anyone
was
would ever
any
show
chance.
The drivers?
Yeah, we didn't think there was any chance anyone would drive to spend an hour with us to talk. And like I said, you drove down today from Indianapolis, and I even told you, like, we could figure out something virtually if we wanted to, but you're like, no, man, you're cool. We'll come down. And so that to us, you don't know what it means to us either, because no matter you're 18 years old, we're still kids at heart, and every driver that goes out there and puts on a show for us is our heroes. So we love it. Like, we've never had the chance or the skill to sit in a seat. So this is how we stay attached to the sport. And like I said, man, nothing but respect for you and appreciation for what you do. So
that's super cool, man. I mean, I'm sorry, but it might be different for other drivers, but being a part of the Indiana Pro Late Models and seeing that you can, have an opportunity to go do an interview or something. I mean, that's huge.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. I mean, that's all we ever dream about is, being interviewed or doing something with your racing career, or having an opportunity to just sit down with a couple of guys and talk about the racing. I mean, I think it's huge. I might be wrong.
We do too. That's why we started it.
yeah,
we it was like, let's see if we can get people to talk with us.
And this is episode 124 today.
That's cool.
This is 124 of these things that we've put out.
I remember when we started, you said most podcasts don't make it.
80% of podcasts that start quit before 5 episodes.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's statistically, they start and they quit before 5 episodes, and we're at 124 today. So,
man, I really hope you guys just take off like rocket ships. And I love to see my buddies do awesome and make it big time. And I consider this big time. You guys might not, but.
And here's the deal. I mean, that's what we feel like we're big time, and I don't mean that like cocky. Like, we feel like we're big time because our goal was always, yes, we love when we get the chance to talk to a Chase Briscoe and a Bobby Pierce and Billy Moyer Jr., but our goal always was to be able to take the local guy and give them the same treatment that Dirt on Dirt and some of these other places give the national touring guys. And, our kind of tagline at Dirt to Media is taking local racing worldwide. And it's the same thing we want to do here with the podcast. Is we want local guys to get exposure across the country the best we can, because, we appreciate it, man. If you guys don't show up on Saturday night, we don't have a racetrack anymore, and we want to keep racing for as long as we absolutely can.
I think it's doing pretty good, and I think it's just going to get better. I really think so. The racing side, but definitely on the Dirt 2 Media and the interview side, I think it's awesome what you guys are doing, and I can't appreciate it. I can't appreciate you guys enough for everything. I mean, I will always hold you guys close to my heart. I really will, because I think this is pretty cool.
That means a lot, man. We wish you the best of luck. And trust me, the first time that you end up in Victory Lane, I know this guy will be there at Brownstown, but I'll make sure I come down to celebrate with you.
It's going to be crazy down there, I tell you that.
Well, I'm sure it will.
It will. I promise you that.
All right, guys, and thanks for joining us. And don't forget tomorrow night, Thursday Night Thunder, and the inaugural Don Gardner Memorial there at Brownstown Speedway. And then turn around on Saturday night, it's the Grand Champion fair race there, the
Paul Crockett Memorial.
And always, we were talking before we went on air, the fair races just have a different feel. I'm not putting down any weekly racing, but fair races are a big deal when it comes to Brownstown Speedway. And
the whole grounds come alive. You guys was wondering what all the barns were for. You're going to see, because
we've never been there.
Maybe come a little early. Walk the midway, walk through all the barns, and it's pretty cool.
And like you said, you get people who don't come to the racetrack any other night but the fair races. And they'll be there every year. So
that's pretty cool. I'm excited.
It'll be a cool deal. So make sure you get out to Brownstown Speedway this weekend. Support the fair. Support the fair races. And we'll be back next week. Don't know who our guest is going to be yet, but we'll figure that out and get somebody down. And
I got a couple feelers out. I just haven't got anything back yet.
Good. So, but right here, same time, 8 p.m. next Wednesday night. Thank you, guys.